Update: am I the a-hole for telling an exchange student to not date my son and possibly ending my marriage? Original post. So I have two kids, my daughter Liz and my son Toby. I'm going to be honest, Toby has become a perverted degenerate. Because Toby is his son, my husband tended to spoil Toby a lot and indulge his interests, which included 18+ movies and my husband's stash of old Playboys. My husband would say, "He's a teenager, let him be," despite me telling him that Toby was growing into a degenerate. This was especially true regarding Asian women. We had an Asian cleaner, we're pretty well off, whom Toby would hit on and harass until she smacked him across the face when he tried to lift her skirt. My husband wanted to press charges, but I threatened to divorce him if he did, and I would make sure everybody knew what a pervert Toby was. I made sure to give her a nice bonus before referring her to a friend, and then hired an older man in her place. Toby sulked for 3 months afterward. I can already hear the comments, "Why threaten divorce when you could just do it?" It's because I didn't want to uproot Liz. I have been saving a small chunk of the weekly grocery money since she was born and have a lot saved in a secret account. I originally planned to get the best divorce lawyer once Liz goes to college and then leave him, but considering everything that happened these past few hours, I may need to move my plans up. I realized I was basically groomed, not long after Toby began exhibiting that problematic behavior, and I think fetishizing exotic women is hereditary, as my husband is white and I'm Latina. Most of the community knows I was groomed, so I have a lot of friends in the neighborhood because of it. They serve as my eyes, and it keeps Toby in check while in public, something that he makes clear annoys him. Anyway, our neighbor recently had his prior exchange student come back for a visit. He hosted her a few years back. For the sake of the post, I will call her Kimmy. Kimmy is incredibly bright and happy, she's always smiling and waving at people in the street. This would all be fine and dandy if she hadn't done so to Toby, who she caught coming back from hanging out with friends. She was on my neighbor's front porch having tea with my neighbor's wife when they caught each other's eyes. To be honest, Toby was smitten, but I didn't trust it. I noticed he and Kimmy would talk for hours on the porch the following week, and we even had her over for tea a few times during that week. Liz absolutely adores her, and the two would talk about fashion and the newest anime and manhwas. I have no idea if I spelled that right, but the Korean version of manga. Fast forward to 2 days ago, and we're having tea, Kimmy, my neighbor's wife, and me. Kimmy asked if she could possibly date Toby, and both the neighbor's wife and I froze. I put down my cup and I was blunt. I told her Toby was a lot like his father in the sense that he doesn't see women the way a gentleman should. I brought up the Asian maid and told her Toby may look at her the same way, even if he doesn't seem to right now. I then explained that my husband was the same way, love bombing and cherishing me, and I realized too late the kind of man he was. My neighbor's wife cut in, saying that she knows I tried to set Toby straight, but some nature is too strong to change. I then finished by saying that if she did decide to date Toby, I would be honored. I also informed her I'd have her back if Toby ever tried to pull anything shady, and so would most of the neighborhood. Kimmy silently nodded, seemingly understanding. Now, Kimmy is ignoring Toby. She came over this morning to pick up Liz for a shopping day, and Toby tried to say hi. But she just ignored him and told me goodbye before Liz shut the door. Toby mumbled a slur while pouting, and I had enough. I rolled my eyes and said something along the lines of, "And that's why I warned her about you." I honestly didn't mean to slip up, but I was exhausted from not sleeping. I have chronic migraines. Toby looked at me, and it looked like heartbreak. But I looked at him straight in the eyes and told him, "I tried to make you a gentleman, but you and your father kept acting like perverted asses. If you want to blame anybody, blame your father. He allowed you to become this way." Toby stormed to his room, and I got a text from my husband an hour later asking why I would sabotage my own son like that. I texted back basically the same thing, that I had enough of Toby looking at women like objects and that if he had been a good father, I wouldn't view my son as a pervert. We had a chance to fix his behavior, but he enabled him. My husband is now furious with me, and Toby has yet to leave his room. Liz and Kimmy are still out, and I texted my neighbor's wife to ask if the two can sleep over at our place since I have a feeling my husband is going to start a fight with me. The neighbor offered to come over and act as a mediator and shield. He's a big guy, and I took him up on that offer. I'm shaking, I'm scared, and I probably imploded my marriage, all because I warned a very kind girl about the kind of boy my son is. I feel like I'm about to throw up. I have no idea what my husband is going to do or say. All I know is he's mad, Toby is mad, but Liz and Kimmy are safe. My neighbor said he's going to come over before my husband gets home, and I honestly am left wondering if what I did is actually for the best. Am I the a-hole for warning an exchange student about my son and ruining my marriage? Reading the top comments before the updates. Not the a-hole. The fact that Toby reacted to rejection with a slur is all you need to know about how things would have gone with her. I think my jaw literally hit the floor when he responded to her guardedness with a slur. For a fraction of a second, I nearly felt bad for this kid, but all sympathy got sucked dry with that one. I do think you need to rethink your current living situation regarding you and your daughter, though. You are well aware that you live among perverts, and I'm sorry but your daughter is 12. As sick as this sounds, she's not safe around your son now, and she's not going to be safe around him at 16, 17, 18. Y'all gotta go. You're not the a-hole, but you will be if you continue to let your daughter live in this type of environment. Not the a-hole, and holy crap, get the entire cavalry. The entire neighborhood is going to want a piece of him if he hurts you. I'm so sorry this is happening to you, OP. Does Liz know her brother's a pervert? You're sweet, thank you. Liz does know, she never has friends over because she is scared Toby will try something. My sister is the same way with my brother. I confronted my mom point blank on it. I told my mom that what he was saying to girls my sister's age was what adults on the internet said to me to groom me. I was in a lot of Facebook groups. It really put into perspective what he was doing. Don't fret, okay? You basically have the neighbors on your side. Pretty sure no matter how much money your husband has, a judge can't ignore that many character witnesses. I suppose that's fair, thank you for the insight. Update. Hello everybody, I just wanted to clarify a few things before I update you all. Firstly, Toby is my son. I think a lot of people were under the impression that he was just my husband's. I guess I worded that strangely. Secondly, everything I have done to try to prevent any form of escalation of Toby's behavior was dismissed by my husband. Any punishments were immediately reversed when he got home. Thirdly, I got Toby tested for any form of mental disability after his first expulsion. He's been expelled twice, and he is neurotypical as far as the tests go. I got him tested for attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, autism spectrum disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and borderline personality disorder. Fourth, my husband has never been violent toward my children or me. If he's upset, he'll direct that energy into something else or an activity. Fifth, it feels like a lot of people thought I was stealing from my family by scamming money from the grocery budget. But it was just spare change and small notes left over after my shopping trips. It's not like I was stealing the entire grocery budget. And finally, yes, I can hear and understand the why haven't you left? Or why didn't you do this? Comments. It's taken a lot of talking between my family, friends, and now you people have read it for me to realize Liz and I didn't deserve this, especially Liz. So, now for the update, I am filing for divorce. I packed Liz up and took her back to my home country for girls' time with her cousins. While there, I made and had a virtual appointment with 2 different lawyers from the same firm. They are currently drafting the paperwork, but they also recommended I talk to local law enforcement about a possible protective order against Toby and my husband. Given their behavioral tendencies, I may consider it. And before everyone comes after me for abandoning Toby, this hurts me too. But at this point, I have to protect Liz. And if I plan to have full custody of her, which the lawyers said was highly guaranteed if Toby continues to live with my husband, I need to separate myself from them. I'm still in my home country, talking to my family about everything. Just as I confirmed before, Toby has not gone after any of his cousins. I asked since I needed any additional accounts for legal reasons. Right now, I'm okay, but honestly, I don't know if I'll update again. I just really want to put this entire situation to rest. So, I may see you guys again or I may not. But thank you all for the support, advice, and courage. Second update. Hello again, everybody. I just wanted to keep everyone posted on the current situation, and thank those who support me during this difficult time. This update is, luckily, more positive, and I am happy to say that I am not giving up on Toby. I am currently back in my husband's home country. I think people were under the impression I was going to take Liz back to my home country permanently, but I've stated before that I don't want to uproot her. I just wanted to look into legal matters and get my mind sorted. I had a few friends in the neighborhood who offered to let me and Liz move into their place, and I took one up on the offer. She lives closer to Liz's school, so it works out better. I served my husband divorce papers 2 days after my last post and moved Liz and me out the same day. And 2 days after we moved out, Toby was found lurking outside Liz's school. He was having a mental breakdown and screaming, and was detained for trespassing. As far as I know, and from what witnesses and police told me, he was a complete wreck. I was also told he had been taken to the hospital for a psych evaluation and placed on a 72-hour hold. I wasn't allowed to visit him, and according to the nurses and doctor, my husband made no attempt to visit him or even speak to the doctor. Toby was diagnosed with a mixed personality disorder, as he showed classic symptoms from narcissistic personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. His emotional breakdown came from the fact that I left, and when I was finally able to see him, it broke my heart. He kept crying and saying he didn't know why he was like this, and I just held him. He hasn't cried that hard since he was a child, and it honestly gave me a small sliver of hope that Toby could still be a part of my life. I sat in on his next therapy session, mandatory while in the facility. He apologized for how he acted, but I told him that the apology came a little too late. I told him that I am happy he wants to get better, but I needed space. That our contact wouldn't be non-existent, just limited. One message I received suggested sending him a voice message, and I think that is a wonderful idea. I told him that if he proved he could be better, we could have full contact again in the future. I am currently working with the doctors to find a suitable long-term facility for him, as I made it clear that if he went back to my husband, he would never get better. I figured a voice memo once a month or maybe a video call, just so he doesn't think I've given up on him. And in 6 months, maybe a year, hopefully he has the tools, coping mechanisms, and medication he needs. I also helped him look at online classes, just so he can branch out again and try to get an education. So that's where things stand right now. No updates on my husband. I don't know if he got a lawyer or what he's planning. But I am safe, Liz is doing well, and Toby is getting help. That's all I have for now. I realized I was too hard on Toby, and I plan to not only acknowledge that in my first video message, but apologize for it. A lot of comments opened my eyes to how hard I was on him, even though most of his behavior wasn't just his fault, but mine and my husband's, or I guess, future ex-husband's. Thank you all for your support, advice, and comments. Harsh or not, I'm glad I posted here. Reading the top comments before the update. So sad that Toby had a breakdown, but it sounds like it was for the better since now he's getting help. Glad you and Liz are out and safe, but no word from your husband, even with his son in the hospital, is worrying. Hope all gets better now. I also think the silence is worrying, but I'm going to enjoy the calm while I can. Also be prepared. The silence might mean he's planning something to try and take you down. In your previous posts, Toby's behavior was concerning, but I could also see that he was groomed by his father to be that way. I feel this breakdown was a blessing in disguise and a wake-up call for him. I wish you all the best. Wishing you both stability and connection. If you find that your voice memos really help him process things, maybe you could try sending a couple more each month? Just a thought, it makes me sad to see stories like this. These disorders can be really intense, but as you said, with the right psych support, well-targeted therapy, and meds, I genuinely believe things can become more manageable over time. Functional, even. Hoping for an update in a year or two with some good news. That is a good idea. I will run it by his current doctor. Thank you for the advice. Final update. Hello everyone. I know it has been a while, but I just wanted to get this final update out for everybody. It has been a busy few months for me, so I will try to make the timeline easy. But first, I want to thank everybody who has supported me through this. It means the world to me, Liz, and Toby. First off, I got a job. Once I moved out, I took the liberty of applying for part-time work. I needed something that would allow me to still be a part of Liz's life while also saving for an apartment or something of our own. Liz's school is in a pretty nice area, so it is taking a while for me to save enough money. But the person who is allowing us to stay says she doesn't mind. I do cook for her and help tidy the house as a thank you. I'm forever grateful for her support. Liz is doing great, and I'm looking at therapists for her. I think it would be best for her to have a safe place to vent that isn't me or one of her friends. I also know that with the upcoming divorce, she is going to need a little extra guidance she might not feel comfortable sharing with me. Now, before I tell you all about Toby, I once again want to thank everybody for helping both him and me. Our relationship has gotten better since his diagnoses. I am aware progress is hardly linear. It took 2 months to figure out dosages and therapies, and we even found a homing service for him. He currently lives in a facility where he shares a dormitory. 4 rooms to a dorm, so he has his own space, a communal area, and he can begin to make friends with boys his own age. I took people's advice, and we decided a video chat once a week would be sufficient. He is apparently having a nice time, and we have him enrolled for spring classes online for next year. He has 2 therapy sessions a week, plus the facility has a counselor for urgent cases. My hope is that he can get down to 1 session per week eventually, but I think he just has a lot to unpack mentally. Finally, my ex-husband. Apparently, his lawyer told him there wouldn't be much of a case for him. Due to the mounting evidence, up to and including the state of Toby, as well as multiple character witnesses, he would most likely be made to pay child support for Liz, and the courts would heavily favor me. So, he cut his losses and decided to terminate his parental rights to Liz. It was surprising to receive that letter, but nonetheless, I think he finally made a good decision. His rights are not fully terminated yet, and he does have supervised visitation with Liz every 2 weeks, though he rarely shows up. Probably thinks it will help him have his rights terminated faster. In regards to assets, my lawyers said that since I had proof of emotional, mental, and financial abuse, the courts would favor me in terms of assets. We did not have a prenup or anything protecting him, so my guess is assets will be split 50-50. Though honestly, I don't want anything in the house. I already took my personal items, as well as heirlooms that he couldn't sell. I honestly just wish to wash my hands of him, though it is never that simple. Our next court date is set for sometime in December. I won't lie and say I'm 100% okay, I do still sometimes worry for Liz and Toby. I still have tea with the neighbors, they assure me I'm doing the right thing. As do my family and friends, I am surrounded by support. I also received a card from Kimmy from my old neighbor, apparently she is a lurker here and recognized the story. So, if you're reading this, Kimmy, your letter made me laugh, and I am so glad you are doing well. Things have mostly settled. I still wake up some nights with a pit in my stomach and dread clouding my thoughts. But overall, I think I am doing the best I can. I was also looking at therapy for myself, though I would like to finish my divorce before doing that. I think this will be my final update regarding my children and situation. Once again, thank you for your support, everyone. Next story. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my younger brother 10 years ago when he basically committed a crime and got away with it because he was 12? Okay, so my brother and I have never gotten along. When he was 12, he stalked his teacher and sent her harassing sexual emails from an anonymous email account for so long that she contacted the police. They tracked him down in about 3 seconds. The consequences, he was let off with a warning, and my parents made him go to therapy 6 times. Obviously, he was also expelled from the nice private school he was at, and my parents put him into a Catholic school that was less than fancy. I would love to say this pattern of behavior stopped there and that he learned his lesson, but no. All throughout high school, he was caught harassing girls. I don't know the details because, at this point, I was living in the same house but was basically no contact. It got so bad that he didn't end up finishing his senior year. I do not know the circumstances, but I imagine it definitely had something to do with the multiple harassment claims against him that the school had to investigate. I also want to point out that I'm not sure if all these claims were merely online or verbal. I have a bad feeling it could have escalated. I was painted as the bad person when, magically, one day his high school completion certificate showed up and I didn't celebrate with the rest of the family. Apparently, he had done enough volunteer work with his hobby to somehow make that qualify? I am still confused. I moved out shortly after this, and having been basically no contact since he was 12, we remained that way. We still saw each other on holidays and would even come to each other's birthday celebrations sometimes. He was still living at home, so I would also see him occasionally when I visited. My whole family has just brushed this under the rug and sees me as the beach for not forgetting about his persistent harassment of women throughout his entire teenage years. Their excuse is that he has depression and anxiety and once called mom because he was thinking about offing himself. That's cool. I've had depression and anxiety since I was 12, and it has not caused me to harass multiple people. And if it did? Oh boy, would I have been cut off. My family is constantly telling me I need to be nicer to my brother. It's a big point of tension. I am not hostile, I just don't make an effort to engage. If he speaks to me, I speak to him. I even send him the occasional reel. My parents try to convince me that I need to get over myself because I don't deserve a relationship with my siblings as I was mean to them when I was a child and teen, so it's such a shame they are benevolent enough to have forgiven me, but I want nothing to do with him. They see no difference between me being mean to him as a child and him committing actual crimes against women and girls. I'm only becoming more uneasy around him as time goes on because I don't know him anymore, And I'm concerned he might have turned to the manosphere community. He would fit right in. He has never had a girlfriend or boyfriend. Obviously, the seeds of hating women were planted during his teenage years, and he spends all his time locked in his room online. Even if I wanted to, I would be scared to reach out because I'm afraid of who he has become. Am I overreacting? Should I be the bigger person here, or are my boundaries reasonable? Not the a-hole. I have a cousin who is much the same as your brother. He actually sexually abused 3 of our younger girl cousins. His dad moved their family back to the Midwest where he grew up. The kid never had any legal repercussions aside from a few therapy sessions. Kid is still an ass. I say kid, he's in his 50s now, and nobody has anything to do with him. Blood relation does not mean you have to have anything to do with someone. My husband frequently asks people, if you did not have the attachment of family to this person, is it someone you would have anything to do with otherwise? If the answer is no, then there you go. Tell the family members you do speak to that they do not get to choose who you engage with. Their problem with your avoidance is just that, their problem.